What are you wearing?
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Who are you Blues fan? We're bleeding blue with you.
Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues.
BlueNote Fan Report. Aloha and mahalo and welcome to the BlueNote Fan Report. Oh, Chris Shockey said that we forgot. Oh man, my internet's kind of funky today, so some of my things are coming in. We forgot 100+ cup winner and first round pick Rammer. Oh, there we go. Nice. I didn't know if Rammer was in that category. Who did he win a cup with? It had to be with Montreal. Had to be with Montreal, I think. I'd have to look him up. Hi, Gloria. How are you? Wow, 9 people watching today. God, man, you guys are starting to make me feel like I might actually be a little bit successful at this, you know? A lot of times I don't feel successful, and we've talked about that. Calgary and Montreal. Okay. I'd have to look that up. Let's see here. I know he's not a Hall of Famer. R-O-B, Rob. R-A-M-A. Rob Ramage. Here we go. Played for the Colorado Rockies, the St. Louis Blues, the Calgary Flames, Toronto Maple Leafs, Minnesota North Stars, Tampa Bay Lightning, Montreal Canadiens, and Philadelphia Flyers. Have a hard time reading this. As St. Louis made the Stanley, losing to Calgary in 7. Oh, that would have been 86, right? Oh, he's part of the 85-86 team. Oh, there we go. I didn't realize that. Have to look at his career here. Calgary Flames in 88-89. And then when did any other one? You said Montreal. 92-93, but he only played 7 games in that one. So yeah. I'm with you on that. Good one there, the coach. Hey E, how you doing? Oh, part of the whole trade. Okay. Oh, I didn't remember that. I'd have to. Yeah. Right. That was when the Flames would have done anything to get a cup for Larry McDonald, who is now the president of the Hall of Fame. So here it is. It is a Friday Night Lights. We are going to talk a little bit about Craig Moz is here. Hey, Craig. Still got the ring. Yeah, because he only got to play one playoff game, I think. He might even have his name on the cup for that one. Craig just got on. Hey, Craig, how you doing? A couple things have gone on. Craig shared an article today. I think it was Craig. And I kind of look. I know the author. I've had him on the show before, and that's. I don't want to say anything bad about the author, but there was something in the article that kind of like just I'm stupefied by it, right? And I think a lot of times, and I think I'm guilty of this when I write. We want to write. We're not writing for ourselves as much as we are writing for the reader, right? Because you want it read. You're writing it for the reader. In all actuality, it's not for you. So in that case, sometimes that we things we hear, we write in that aspect. He wrote an article about 5 things to be excited for in the upcoming season. Now, let me see if I can find this article real quick. Let me see here. I'm trying to bring it up because I want to talk about the 5 things. I was on board with a couple of them and I wasn't with others, right? And it's a decent. I mean, it's a decent article. You know, it's something to go out there and read. Let me see here if I can find the article now. Click on Ethan's name. Here we go. 5 things to be excited about for the 23-24 season. I'm not going to read them all. I'm going to read what they are. The brilliance of Pavel Vishnevich and Robert Thomas. Okay, I'm okay with that, but I think you needed to add Jordan Kyrou in there, right? Blues new assistants coaches bring fresh perspective. Now, this one I'm not on board with, right? With Babcock and that. I think that what you did is you're still looking at you're picking at the scab and not treating the wound. And I thought with the new assistant coaches, you could have definitely done that. Now that's something we can talk about, right? That's something that we can talk about. Magungo, how are you? How are you, buddy? So when I look at this, he says he mentioned Kyrou again. I scanned over the article and I have it up. I got to make it a little bigger. My eyesight sometimes just let's see here. Well, I mean, if you say he mentioned him, I don't see him coming up. Not in this article, at least. Right? E. First, he said 2 best players on the team. In my opinion, I've always thought Pate would perform well in St. Louis. I didn't think he would be this elite, but he's one of the best wingers of the game, and there are several stats to back him up. And he's got a thing from A&R Hockey Stats, putting a pretty heavy rating on Buchnevich. He hasn't stayed healthy in either season, but he's played over 60 games. Yeah, I don't see Kyrou getting mentioned in that, bud. Maybe he gets mentioned somewhere else. The thing is, and maybe I'm missing something there, but I think you have to add Kyrou to that. I think Kyrou gets a bad rap. I really, really do. Right? And Kyrou gets a bad rap. I'm looking at the article. I don't see Kyrou's name in it at all, to be honest. Nico said aloha from the hot hell, Illinois. Hell Hot, Illinois. Hey, man, it is what it is. Hey, don't forget, if you're watching on Facebook, put them thumbs in the air. I really appreciate those. Those let people, and that helps the logarithm. Jason Nichols, Brandon Wright, Craig Moz. Hey, Craig, if you're still willing to come on and talk, man, the invitation's open. You let me know, and I will send you a link to your Facebook Messenger. Just let me know, buddy. I'd love to have you on. Love to talk some of this with you, man. I'm still looking at that article real quick. I'm kind of scanning through it. You might be talking about another article he wrote, but in this article, I don't see Kyrou mentioned at all. Right? Kevin Hayes' first season in St. Louis. Then he talks about Prunovich and Neighbors as breakout candidates. I think Neighbors more than Prunovich. I don't think Prunovich is going to get as much playing time as people think he is. I do think Neighbors more. And then the one that, this is the one I can't get on board with. Right? I cannot get on board with this at all. It says, don't be surprised if Joel Hofer surpasses Jordan Bennington on the Blues depth charts at goaltenders sometime this season. Look, he had a good 4 games, but his last 2, he got destroyed. And then in the playoffs, in the AHL playoffs, I mean, he got ramsacked. Oh, my goodness, I have a guest. We're going to have fun today. Let's bring in the one, the man, the myth, the legend, the only, the drop, Lance the Scott. Hey, Lance, how you doing, man?
I'm okay. How are you?
Oh, no problem, man. No problem. I hope you're doing well. Hope this show finds you well today.
Yep.
Well, we're talking about a few things, and we can, go back, and I know you've missed some shows and that, and we can talk about them. We can talk about the Blues Hall of Fame vote. I think today's the last day, or it might be Monday. I know it's coming up. For me, it was a dead on. I know the voters get 5 votes, right? So while I'm not media, I'm not fan either. So I gave myself 3 votes, and I had 1 dead on, and then I forget who my other 2, but my 1 dead. Who is with your 1 vote? If you get just 1 vote of the guys that are eligible, who did you pick?
Pronger.
See, that's not where I would go.
Yep, that's where I
Pronger
would go.
Like 1 of 3. Isn't Pronger already in though? Pronger's already in.
Did he get in last year?
Yeah, he was on automatic because of a retired number.
That's right.
So
I don't know. The rest of them are all about the same to me.
No. Hold on. Let me bring the news back. Let me bring it up, because I think when you get to go through them, it will. I mean, there's one on there that kind of leaps out at you. Let's see here. First Community sponsoring it. Here are the names. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Al Arbor,
Mm-hmm.
Wayne Babbage,
Mm-hmm.
David Backus,
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Brown,
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Chase,
Mm-hmm.
Pavel Dimitra, Grant Fuhr, Barrett Yakman, Curtis Joseph, Mike Liute, Adam Oates, Larry Patey, Jacques Plante, Rob Ramage, Jimmy Roberts, Brendan Shanahan, Alexander Steen, Keith Kachuk, Pierre Turgeon, and Tony Twist.
Liute or Joseph. I'm biased with goalies.
Oh, well, I see. I'm with one of those. I am with one of those. As much as so if I was to vote, I would give a forward, a defenseman, and a goalie, or 2 forwards and a goalie.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's really not a lot of defensemen on that list.
No, and
right?
the thing about Jackman was he was great for about 3 or 4 years until he got that injury, and then he was just average at best after that. He just was not the same after that, so that's why I wouldn't consider him.
Right there's the list. I don't know how
Yep.
well you guys can see that,
Yep.
but there's the list. I know if I blow it up, you're not going to see all of them. It's a kind of the best I can do there. Take it down one. I think at that point you could see, just about all of them there, right? So if I'm looking at this as a media type member,
Mm-hmm.
Lance, I'm going, okay, I'll go 3 votes, for my 3 votes, I will go forward, defenseman, goalie, or 2 forwards and a goalie.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the goalies, you take the goalies out of this. Let's do goalies first.
Mm-hmm.
You have Mike Liut, Grant Fuhr, Curtis Joseph, and Jacques Plante.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 4 goalies, correct? Or am I missing one?
No, you're not.
Okay. So if you're going to take a goalie out of that, you have to look at, for me, this isn't a body of work. This is so when you look at the Hall of Fame, it's a body of work. This is more a body of Blues work. I think that's
right.
one thing that you have to remember.
Yep.
This is the Blues Hall of
Yep.
Fame.
Yeah.
Because it's the Blues Hall of Fame, I think that takes a couple of guys down a notch.
Yep.
And one of those guys that it takes down a notch is Grant Fuhr.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but you're right. Playing here for the couple of years that he did, he was great, but he wasn't here long enough.
The 3 years he was here, he was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
He had a great team around him and could have taken that team to a cup and should have taken that team to a cup. And actually probably should have stayed here longer, which would have given him a little bit better movement.
Yeah, and another guy I think you should take out is Shanahan. He wasn't here long enough.
Well, we'll get there. Let's deal with goalies first, right? So when you deal with the goalie, so that to me is going to take him down a little bit. And then the other one that I think takes down is Jacques Plante, right?
Yep.
Jacques is a Hall of Famer, but he is a Hall of Famer not for what he did in St. Louis, right? Now, Glenn Hall, on the other hand, while he is a Hall of Famer, part of what he did in St. Louis is the reason he's a Hall of Famer. Winning the oh God, I just went blank. The MVP, the Conn Smythe, is part of the reason on a losing team is part of the reason he's in the Hall of Fame. It helped. If you take that away, does he still get in the Hall of Fame? Yes. Does he get in the Hall of Fame as quickly as he did? Probably not. Does that make sense? When you add that award and how he won it and the fact that he was the first player ever to win that award on a losing team, it tells you something. And that's why I'm
Yeah,
there.
but here's the thing. He won it because he played so great that year. It also, they gave it to him based on his past accomplishments.
Oh, no. It did. What, you mean him getting that award?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. I think that this had more to do with the fact that every game was a 1-goal game, and Montreal was so strong that year.
I don't know.
And not only that, they went 8-0 in their first 2 games. The first 2 series.
Here's the thing about Jacques Plante. By the time he got to the Blues, he didn't want to play.
Yeah.
When other goalies were injured, they couldn't find him to play. He didn't want to play every game. He didn't want to play every other game. To me, that's not really a guy that screams, "I'm all Blues." I'm here for the Blues. I love the guy. He's one of my favorite goalies, but I've got to take him off the list.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with him being on a list. He's just not getting my vote. Right. So then that leaves you with Mike Liut and Curtis Joseph. I'm sorry, man. For me, if I'm looking at those two, I put Liut just a tad above Joseph. Right? Liut played here a little longer. He didn't play with as good of teams except the 80 team. And when you look at Liut's career, I don't look at Liut and go, he played with this team or that team. When I look at Cujo, I go, he's a Toronto goalie, not a Blues goalie. I think Liut takes a step above for me.
Yeah, I would probably say that too, since Cujo played a lot more games for Edmonton and Toronto, and I think he played for Phoenix for a while too. He played for a lot of different teams.
Who?
I think he played for Phoenix for
which goalie? I didn't hear which goalie you said.
Cujo.
Cujo, yeah.
Yeah, he played for a lot of different teams.
Yeah. No, for me, I think Liut. When you say Mike Liut, you think St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, you definitely don't think Capitals or the Whalers.
Yeah, right. You think Blues on him, and that's why I think for me, when it comes to goalies, that's where it comes in. Now, the next one, if you look at defensemen, now defensemen in this group is very weak. However, you could take two of these forwards and put them in defensemen, right? You could. You're getting a little love there. I don't think he played on crappy Blues teams, did he? I mean,
he played on some offensive teams that had some good defense, but man, guy, there were nights I went to see a lot of games. Yeah, there were nights, guy, where the Blues would lose 3-2, and he'd face. He kept them in a lot of games that they wouldn't have made if without Joseph and those years they made the playoffs. Well, playoffs.
Yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but the defensemen on this list are Jeff Brown, Rob Ramage, and one more. Who else is a defenseman on this list? Brown, Ramage. Was Backus a defenseman?
No.
You said, I know who I'm missing now. Jackman. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are really the only three defensemen on this list. But in my eyes, you could put Twist and Chase in that category because they were much more known for what they did has in their defensive game than they did in their forward game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they were more the physical guy that took people into the corners and didn't focus so much on offense.
Yeah. So, I mean, but when I look at that, maybe one guy I can put on this list, but it's not for what he did on the ice, it's for what he did off the ice. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's if I wanted them, if I had to vote a defenseman, my vote would go to Chase. Right? And my vote goes to Chase because of what he's done with the organization after the time.
Yeah, but he was really a forward. You can't, even though he roughed it up and he played more defensive style than offensive style. I wouldn't consider him a defenseman. I would consider him. I
said if I was forced to give a defensive vote.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and list Twist and Chase for their defense because they're not. I mean, if you spend 5 years in a team and don't score 5 goals, right? I mean, you know, when you're 1 or 2 goals per year, right? I got a little. I'm not there. But when you look at forward on this list, there's a couple of names that stick out for me, and I'll go over them. Arbor, he was a center, correct?
Yep.
Babbage was a center, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
Backus was a winger. Dimitra was a center. Oates was a center. Patey was a center. Roberts was a center. Shanahan was a forward. Steen was a forward. Kachuk was a forward. And Turgeon was a forward. Now, when you look at that group, if we don't pick the defenseman and we pick 2 forwards, I'll get there with you, Matty. Give me a sec, bud. I'll let you go first. Let's say that of the 5 defensive guys, would you put one of them in the Hall? So here's your choice. You can either put 2 forwards in or a forward and a defender.
I like Jeff Brown, but I don't think he played here long enough.
He played at least 3 years, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it was 5 years, but I might be wrong.
Well,
yeah.
you got to 5 years on a team in Jeff Brown's era was something special.
Yeah. I'm definitely not putting Steen in because I like Steen. I think he was good, but Alexander Steen was not great. He was just here a long time.
Yeah. There's a name that sticks out for me.
Adam Oates I like, but he wasn't here long enough.
Well, but see now with that one, I gotta stop you. It wasn't Oates' fault.
And
right?
and I'm not going to give it to Dimitri. I know people are going to hate me because they all love him. And here's why.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Here's why I'm not going to give you Dimitri. He had such a falling out with the Blues during that contract negotiation, said a lot of bad things about the franchise. And after he left, he dissed the franchise any chance he could get. And that's why I would never go with Pavel Demitra. I'm not going to go with the sad vote because he died in a plane crash. I think that's terrible.
I get it, but I got to bring something in. I understand where you're going. I do, but I got to bring something in. Demitra went to arbitration twice with the Blues.
Mm-hmm.
And both times the Blues tore him up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tore him up. Straight up. You can't perform in the playoffs. You don't deserve money.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Tore him up.
That's what you're supposed to do as a team. If I was a GM, I'd be tearing people up too.
You know, I think there's a way to do it right.
Yeah, there is.
And I don't think the Blues did it right. I don't think the Blues did it right. One of the things that came out was that they constantly said you weren't a locker room guy. And that was like the exact opposite of what everyone's ever said about him. And that was while he was still living.
He wasn't talkative and he didn't speak English very well.
But he was the guy. He was the guy that when you had a bad game would come put your arm around you and say, "It's okay, we'll get him tomorrow." Mm-hmm. And that was, I think that was the thing. Now, when he came up for free agency, he told the Blues, "Discount. I want to be here." Blues said, "Nah, we don't want you." Right? So for him to go, I think that the organization at that time did not treat him well. I understand what you're saying. Now, Craig Moss says something really important here. When new ownership came in before he passed, they had reached out and rekindled their relationship. Now, the reason I bring a lot of this up, I remember, God, this had to be somewhere in the 2000s. I went to a game in the 2000s. Maybe the late because he won his cup. Hull won his cup in '99, so it had to be early 2000s, somewhere around there, right? I don't remember when, but I went to a game.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to this game, it was after Hull had left. Actually, it might have been '99. Might have been 99. Might have been 99 after Hull left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the Kiel Center having, and you remember that, I think they have it now, but when you had the front row seats, they
Mm-hmm.
had the where the store is now. That was like the Blue Note Club,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was having dinner in the Blue Note Club, and I was, wearing my jersey, military, all this stuff. I had a couple of guys talking to me, and one of the questions was, do you think the number 16 is going to be in the rafters? And I said, abso-frickin-lutely. There's no doubt in my mind. He said, well, why do you say that? Because of, everything that went down. And I said, I say that because ownerships change. And at some point, you're going to get an ownership in here that really understands history and the importance of what that man meant to this building right here.
Yeah, but the difference there is Brett Hall was a Hall of Famer when he left the Blues. Pavel Demitra was not a Hall of Famer when he left the Blues. I don't want people to think I'm bashing on the guy because I loved watching him play. He had great hands, was a great skater, and like you said, was just a really great guy in the locker room. I just think that the way things ended, if it would have went on and he wouldn't have died, I think I might be more onto that because, when I die, I don't want people to say nice things about me because I died. I want nice people to say things about me because of who I was. And, if he did rekindle, that's great. I don't know. It's just a sticking point with me, about things like that. And I will tell you this, Brett Hall, when he left Dallas, had some pretty strong things to say about Doug Armstrong too.
Yeah, he was not.
Yeah, he was not because Doug Armstrong did him bad in Dallas.
Yeah. Right. The one thing that Hull, here's something that a lot of people don't remember about Hull. There was a huge chance of Hull coming back to St. Louis, not once, but twice. Twice. There was a huge chance of Hull coming back to St. Louis. The first time, he was in negotiations with St. Louis. Full on, almost ready to sign a contract when Bowman come calling. And his agent had to put hold on. And at that time, Detroit wanted a mentor for a very young and very cocky, and I can't remember his name.
Fedorov?
No. Russian. He's Russian. He's the second wave of Russians. Someone's going to remember it.
They had so many Russians.
Yeah. There's a thing out on the internet. You'll see this. The two were on a line together. They played on the third line together. And there was a point where Hull didn't pass him the puck. Or not that the kid didn't pass Hull the puck. And Hull, he comes back and says, pass me the puck. And the kid says, you're covered. And Hull says, Datsuk. That's it, Pavel Datsuk. Thank you.
Yeah, Pavel Datsuk.
Datsuk. Yeah. Thank you, Craig. I knew it was like on the tip of my tongue. But Datsuk was like, you're covered. And Hull said, I scored 400 goals covered. Pass me the damn puck. They wanted Hull to mentor Datsuk. And that's exactly what he went in there and did, and he ended up winning a cup doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Then, when he left Detroit his last year after the strike, there was money for Hull, but I can't remember the ownership group. Oh, the Walmart money.
Yeah.
Or no, they just sorry. The Blues had just sold the team, and the new group.
Dave Checketts. Dave Checketts.
No, not the Checketts. Checketts was in the 80s. This was the
no. Dave Checketts was not in the 80s. No.
Who was the one in the 80s then? Oh, that was Harry O'Ness.
Yeah.
You're right, Checketts.
Yeah,
that's right. When Checketts came in, that team was so beat up. Checketts didn't want to spend the money on Hull, even though he knew it was worth it. And Hull was giving him a good discount.
Checketts didn't want to spend the money.
Yeah,
Checketts didn't want to spend the money on anything.
Yeah. Well, he couldn't because, see, I will always say that the worst thing that ever happened to the Blues, was the Lowrys owning that team. Right? Yeah, no, they do. We do have a sponsor for our Hall of Fame, and I don't know if it feels wrong. I mean, I get it. I don't have an issue with it, AZ. And by the way, AZ, I haven't seen you in a long time. Welcome to the show, my friend. Welcome back to the show. Right? The Lowrys, when they were ready, when that strike was coming up and it was time to sell the team, the guy that they brought in was not a sports guy.
Mm-mm.
Actually, Keenan was not as bad as the Lowrys. What Keenan did to the team was nowhere near as bad as what the Lowrys did to the team.
Yeah, plus Keenan wasn't the owner.
Right? I mean, Keenan shouldn't have been the GM.
No.
Well, we'll always welcome you, AZ. I'll always welcome you on the show, my friend. Just let me know. I'll always welcome you. You know that. The Lowrys brought in a guy that was a corporate raider, basically.
Yeah, he's
and
the guy.
This guy's eyes, all he sees is the stat sheet, the balance
the bottom
sheet,
line. Yeah, the bottom line.
right? And what you are missing is what he was missing. The thing that made the Blues sellable was the thing you got rid of, and that was the 25-year playoff streak.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That 25-year playoff streak, being able to continue that and set the record, because that tied the record at the time. You could have set the record for, and you really could have gone 3 to 5 more years.
Oh yeah, yeah.
With the players that we had, and instead of doing that, this guy doesn't see that, and you get rid of Pronger and so much others, that now you end up being the worst team in the league and getting the first overall pick. And even then, that was a chance, because wasn't that like the beginning of the lottery too, right? That was the beginning of the lottery. You were taking a chance at even getting the first round pick. So the thing that made the team sellable, you took away. And then when you bring in a guy like Dave Chicketts, that's again another one of these bean counters. You didn't need a bean counter. And I get this as a business, but you needed a guy that had his own money somewhere else that could come in and really, really, really run this team, right? And run it the right way, and build that money up in other ways, right? Through sponsorships, through, the sales and things like that. That's what you needed to do. You did not make this team sellable by getting rid of all that salary. That hurt this team. That hurt this. This is the reason why this team took 50 years to win a cup. And for the most part, if we go down the owners, I don't think that we got a good owner until we got Tom Stillman.
It took a long time to really get a good owner. And what a lot of people don't realize, like you said, when they came in and they just got rid of everybody like Pronger, what people don't realize, that was the 2004-05 or 2005-06 season. Their big star free agent that they brought in was an aging Billy Guerin. And I love Billy Guerin. He's a good player, but that was their guy they brought in to sell tickets. And if they'd have kept some of those other guys, imagine this, in 3 or 4 years, you would have drafted Perron, Oshie, Berglund, eventually Turgeon. All those young guys could have gelled very well with those veterans. And like Guy said, this team could have continued to make the playoffs for 30, 32 years straight.
I don't remember who the other one was. You got to remember, I was kind of out of the loop on this a little bit. When this happened, I think I was either in Japan still or coming here. Right? So I came here in 2004. So it was kind of in that period. I do know that there was somebody else, but well, here's the thing: the NHL wasn't going to let him move it.
No.
That was the one thing. Oh, Kroenke? Was it Kroenke?
No, Kroenke didn't own him. The guy from Saskatoon,
Maybe, no,
I think.
Kroenke. I think he's saying Kroenke wanted to buy them and then move them, but
Yeah.
I don't think the NHL was ever going to allow St. Louis to. There are teams that the NHL will not allow to move. I actually think that the same family still owns the Chiefs.
The guy in Saskatoon was Bill Hunter, was his name.
No, that was for Saskatoon, but in Lancher, I think you're confusing a couple things, bud. In '83, the Blues.
No, Kroenke never ever put in a proposal to buy the Blues. Not once.
Yeah, he did. That I do remember.
No, he didn't.
He was one of two groups that wanted to buy the Blues. Yeah, I'm almost dead certain of this. He wanted to move the Blues, and the NHL told him that he couldn't, and that's why he backed out of the bid. Right? I mean, I'm almost dead certain on that, Lance.
I'm looking up the history of Blues owners and possible owners, and he is not on that list of people that put in bids to buy the Blues.
I'm pretty sure Craig is right. I will say that. I'm pretty sure Craig is right. Hey, let me say a big thank you to Ryan Green, Goyer Saber, Travis Partington, Ashley Jones, our co-host, Jason Nichols, Brandon White, and Craig Moss for putting them thumbs in the air. Right? You know what? This reminded me of something now that you say this. I don't know how many of you guys are fans of the History Channel, but I watch it pretty regularly.
Yeah, I do too.
And they have a series right now called The Food That Built America.
Yep.
And last week, or was it last week or 2 weeks ago? It might 2 weeks ago. In the last 2 weeks, it's been two St. Louis. They've had two St. Louis owned businesses, right? 2 weeks ago, they had
real quick while you're thinking of that, Maddie C. It's the Hunt Group that owns the Chiefs.
The Hunt, yeah, the Hunts,
yeah, HUNT.
Yeah, that family's owned it. That's a family-owned team.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not
not
going out
anywhere.
of that family. Right? So 2 weeks ago, they did dog food, and they had Purina on there with puppy chow and dog chow and all of that. And they had up until, Purina up until they got sold by Nestle. But they talked a lot about, they didn't talk about their sports ownership, but they brought that in there. And then last week they did light beer. So Miller Lite, Bud Light, and they had Gussie Busch and Augie. See, I didn't remember this. And I was around during most of this. I guess I was pretty young. I was in my teens. Slapshot reference, not actually the Chiefs. Oh,
you see, if you'd have said Charleston Chiefs, I would have known
that. Yeah. You got us there, Maddie. But they brought up the Bud Light. I thought Gussie Busch was still in charge of Anheuser-Busch. His son came in and kind of pushed him out in the early 80s, right? Or the late 70s, early 80s.
Yep.
But Gussie still owned the Cardinals.
Yep.
Right? While Anheuser-Busch, while his son was the chairman of the board of Anheuser-Busch, Gussie was the chairman of the board of the Cardinals.
The Cardinals, that's right, yeah.
Right? So that's why, to me, because I always thought of Anheuser-Busch owning them, and they did, but that was the separate there.
That's why until the day he died, Gussie was the one that always rode in on the Clydesdales at the first game.
Yep. Yeah, that was his team.
Yep.
Right. I will remember that. That was absolutely his team. I got to go back and look. I do remember in 2003, 2004, there being more than one group that put bids in, and that one of the groups wanted to move And that's that. You know what? That might be what it was too. There, Craig. You might be right. Because the NHL, I know when the Lowrys announced that they were going to sell the team, the NHL. This is where everyone gives Bettman the bad rap. Bettman came out and straight up said the Blues will not move. Whoever buys that team cannot move that team. Period. There was no
when was this
period or any of this. That
when
was a
this?
period.
Talking about 83?
No.
Because in 83, 83, it was Ziegler that was the commissioner.
Yeah, no, we didn't have a commissioner. Not a league commissioner.
And well, in the 80s, it was Ziegler. Whenever they had a commissioner, eventually it was Ziegler.
Well, no, Bettman's actually the first commissioner of the NHL.
No, he's not.
The conferences had their own commissioners.
Nope. Ziegler was the commissioner of the NHL.
Lance, I don't want to argue with you, bud, but I think you're wrong.
Here it is. He became the 4th president of the National Hockey League. He served as the league president.
So that's not commissioner.
But basically, okay, tell me the president of the NHL right now. That's basically what that's basically what the job was back then.
Yeah.
From 77 to 92.
I'm reading this right here.
The NHL was sad.
Hold on, Lance. Give me a moment. On December 12th, 1992, Bettman was elected as the first commissioner of the National Hockey League. So by title, he was the first guy.
Yeah, but commissioner, president.
It says the first NHL, Glenn Stein served as the NHL's final president. So they went from a president to a commissioner, is what they did. Right? That's what they did there, bud. So, I mean, we're both right. Let's put it that way. We're both right. But when the possible sale of the Blues came up in 2003, 2004, Bettman came out and said that team will not move. Now, in 83, Perina sold the team. Perina absolutely sold the team, and the NHL Board of Governors, which that guy was the president, I forget the name of him again, came and said, great, you're not moving them. Right? I think for the NHL, the 11 teams, the 11 teams that make up the original NHL. Now, I know you have your original 6, right? But that first group of expansion, the league is not a league until that group of expansion hits. Because when you're only 6 teams and 2/3 of your team make the playoffs, you got some issues there. When they doubled the size of the league, that is where the league becomes a league. To me, they lost one of those teams. One of those teams failed miserably. They couldn't save that team, and I think because of that, they came down and set up these 11 teams aren't moving. And none of those teams have moved. And they've all been sold multiple times.
Well, you also have to remember there was the Cleveland Barons and the California Golden Seals, and they merged and became the Minnesota North Stars. Basically, is what happened.
No. North Stars were part of the original expansion, the second expansion. They were. Now, they may have merged into them. The players may have gone to them after those teams folded. But the North Stars were one of the 6. The 6 teams were Minnesota North Stars, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Philadelphia Flyers, the St. Louis Blues, the Los Angeles Kings, and the Oakland Golden Seals. Hey, Bob. Bob says, Bill Larson.
Right here, guy.
Yeah.
The Barons were merged with the North Stars in the NHL in the 70s in 1978.
Right.
Yeah,
Bill Laurie specifically bought the Blues so as to bring an NBA team to St. Louis. And you were speaking semantics, guy. Bettman was an NBA guy long before he became the NHL commissioner. Yes, that is true. And thanks to Harry Owners for keeping the Blues in St. Louis, even though he chose not to participate in the NHL draft. No, only 1 year, bud. Only 1 year. The only year that a team was one. And the original 6 were absolutely. How do you make 6 teams a league, bud? I'm sorry. Until they expanded. I mean, look at the NBA. The NBA didn't start with just 6 teams. The NFL didn't start with just 6 teams. Right? I think that you know the when these, if the NHL doesn't expand in 67, 68, is there still an NHL now?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think that they expanded at the perfect time. So, yes, and I don't think I'm speaking semantics. I'm straight up, the first time that the NHL named a commissioner, named the person in that position a commissioner, was Gary Bettman in 1993. They had a president before then. Okay, fair enough. There's no true definition of what a league is. I will accept that. You're right. And this is Bob. This is in my eyes. I know you and me disagree consistently, and I'll kind of leave it at that. Yeah, Laurie wanted an NBA team here, but I don't think that was ever going to happen after the Hawks failed. Well, you had the Hawks and the Spirit, right? The Spirit.
I just want to tell Bob what a league means. A group, it doesn't give a number, a group of sports clubs which play each other over the period for a championship. So if you want to look at it that way, then the first 6 were a league.
Yes. And by that, yes.
By that definition.
Yes. Right.
But I think they would still be playing in Canada and they'd probably be popular there, but it wouldn't be like it is today. It just wouldn't.
They needed that expansion. They had to get away from the 6 teams.
Yeah, they had to.
Right? They absolutely had to get away from the 6 teams.
Yeah, because before it was the NHL, it was the NHA, National Hockey Association, years and years ago. They became the NHL
in 23, if I remember right.
I think it was 23 or 28. Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Let me see. I'm looking it up now. On November 16th, 1917.
17.
Yep.
That was a good year. I remember it very well.
Yeah. The National Hockey Association kind of stopped, and then they did that, and that's when they ended up with the original 6 prior to the expansion. So, you can look at how I say things one way or another. It's just how
and in all truth, we're all right. We're just saying it differently.
They were the National Hockey Association, the NHA.
The WHA didn't come around to the 70s.
Yeah. The WHA is the same as the ABA.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And that's, there's 3 leagues that did that. There's 3 leagues, 3 separate leagues that came in and tried to compete and ended up being absorbed.
Yep.
Right? And I'm not just talking hockey. I'm talking overall. The only league that didn't happen to was baseball.
Yeah.
For the most part.
The NFL.
There was a national association and an American association that eventually became Major League Baseball. But you got to remember, those 2 leagues played separately forever.
NFL, AFL, NHL, WHA, ABA, NBA.
Yep. Right. I felt, so this is the one thing that I think and the best NHL team. Nah, I don't know about that, Matty C. I don't know about that, my friend. I don't know. Oh, did you see that graphic that was out? I think it was from NHL. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. I've seen
The
it.
teams that have been the most successful over the last 10 years or 20
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
Oh no, since 2000.
Yeah. The Blues were 4th or 5th.
Right.
Yeah.
There was, but there was something on that shocked the crap out of me. Right.
Detroit shocked the crap out of me. Detroit was like 7th or 8th.
Because they've only been bad the last 5 years. So you remember they were in a 25-year playoff run prior to that. I'm trying to find this thing. I think Ryan Green sent it to me. By the way, here it is. I'm trying to trade I'm thinking about trading Tarasenko on my fantasy league. I think him signing with Ottawa was the right move. He bet on himself. I absolutely think that was the smart move.
Yeah, I had somebody telling me he's too old to do a 1-year deal. I'm like, no, he's not. Matt Duchene just did one with Dallas.
Yeah. No, not in the least bit. Okay, so here's the list. What sticks out on you on this list? There is one thing that sticks out for me. I mean, jumped out at me from this list right away.
Well, one thing that gets me is for all their Stanley Cups, the 3 Stanley Cups in the 2000s, the Blackhawks are 23rd.
Yep. That's the one. That's the one that jumped out at me.
Yep.
Right? I went back. So of the teams on here, I think 3 of them have 3 cups. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Tampa has 3 cups, and they're in, 11th. I can't remember if Jersey has 2 cups or 3 cups.
2, I think.
2. The Kings have 2 cups.
Yep.
Right? If you look at this, you don't get Detroit has 2 cups. The Avalanche have.
Capitals have 1. Pittsburgh has 2 or 3.
Pittsburgh has 3 since 2000.
Yeah.
That was the other one. The other one. Pittsburgh has 3 since 2000.
But yeah, as much as Blackhawks fans go on that they're the greatest team, that's what really shocked me too, was they've won 3 cups, but they're still 23rd.
Yeah, that was the one that kind of leaped out at me, because you look at the teams down here, right? Now you can't count Vegas, you can't count Seattle.
No.
Not enough years. I get it.
No.
But Columbus, bottom feeder. For a while now. Phoenix, bottom feeder. Buffalo, bottom feeder. The Panthers, been a bottom feeder. Jets, I'm not sure. The Oilers stuck out at me. That's not true. There's other teams that have 25-year playoff runs. I want to say that they're
No, there's not, because when the Blues were at 25, there was nobody even close to them.
I think Boston has a 25-year run.
Nope, they don't, because they've missed the playoffs at least once or twice since the 2000.
You got to remember, Boston's been in the league since 20? Yeah, 1917, and there was a period there. There was a period there where 4 of those 6 teams made the league.
Yeah, but they did not make the playoffs 25 years in a row. That's why it was such a big deal for the Blues to do it. You know, considering what a new franchise that they were, you know, from 67. Matty C should know this, and I think he'll agree with me. They did not make the playoffs 25 years in a row.
Hold on. It's not coming up. I don't know where to find that thing, but I'm pretty sure that there's more.
Well, you know what? Forgive me. I was wrong. They ripped off 29 seasons in a row from 67, 68 to 95, 96.
Boston, right?
Boston. You're right.
Sorry, I knew it. There are other teams that have had more than 25 years other than us in Boston, us in Detroit. I know Boston's one, and I'm pretty sure Montreal's on there too. Right? I'm pretty sure Montreal's on there. Now, you're not talking, wait a minute. That's not, the 25-year streak is not from this period.
No.
This is in their history.
In their history.
Right? The Blackhawks have had a 28. I knew that. That's why the 25 for me, and even then you look at the Bruins streak was during the expansion era. Right? Where did you find that information at, Craig? What was something that where did you find that list at?
I just looked up longest playoff appearance streaks in NHL history is what I looked up.
On what? Just
Googled
Wikipedia
it,
or just a general search?
Just Googled it.
Okay, just a general search.
Google it. Google it.
The streak started in 68, went until 96.
Yep, 95, 96.
Won 2 cups. The Penguins own the longest NHL playoff streak, making the playoffs for 16 straight seasons in a row. Owned. They don't anymore.
Nope.
Buffalo Sabres have the longest drought. And the Panthers hadn't won a playoff series in 24 seasons. They finally got through that. Right? Oh, here we go. Here it is. Okay. It's postseason droughts. Okay, here we go. I found it on Wikipedia, right? Under list of NHL franchise postseason appearance streaks. So, the Bruins have 29 seasons, 67, 68 through 95, 96. Blackhawks, 28 seasons, 69, 70 through 96, 97 at post-expansion, right? Both us and the Red Wings, us 79, 80 through 2003, 2004. Canadians at 24 seasons. So I was close. I knew they were up there. And then the Canadians had a 21 season one from 48 through 68, 68, 69. So I knew that the Canadians were close. Right? Yeah, I found it. Guys. Thank you. Sabres have the cup drought because Vancouver made the playoffs during the bubble.
You know what's funny to me is all the Leafs fans every year act like they have the best team in the league. And yeah, they're 13th on this list, but look who's close to them. The Senators, the Flyers, and Vancouver.
Yeah. Right. No, I mean, there's some interesting,
it's interesting.
It's interesting how this plays out. It really does. Yep. When you look at it, right, your teams that have won the cups in this period, the most cups, only one of them really sticks out.
Yep. The Penguins.
Penguins at 3, they've won 3 cups.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Bruins 1 cup, Capitals 1 cup, Dallas no cups. Blues 1 cup. Detroit has 2 cups.
Yep.
In this period, I think. Maybe 1 or 2.
2.
The Avalanche have 2 cups. Sharks no cups. The
Predators no cups.
Predators no cup. Rangers no cup.
No cups. Tampa 3.
Lightning 3 cups.
Yeah.
Right? Devils 1 or 2 cups. Right?
Maple Leafs 0, Vancouver 0, Ottawa 0, Flyers 0, Calgary 0, Carolina 1, Anaheim 1, the Kings
1,
2, Minnesota
2,
0.
0.
Yeah, Minnesota 0, the
Montreal,
Canadiens
0.
0, the Blackhawks 3, the Islanders 0, the Oilers 0, Winnipeg 0, Florida 1.
Yeah. Buffalo 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the rest of them. And then you got Vegas with 1.
Yeah.
So, no, wow, interesting topic. Well, you know what? We haven't even got. Have you still got time, Lance? Because we got a topic we haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah, I got a few more minutes.
Okay. One of the things, there was an article out about the top 5 things to be excited for in the Blue season. And I want to bring out not just the top 5 things to be excited for, but what I'm going to ask the viewers and us, what are you excited for the upcoming season? And what are you not excited for in the upcoming season?
I'm excited to see Joel Hofer prove all these idiots wrong that think that he's not an NHL goalie, that he's going to have to go down back to the AHL for a year or 2, and we're going to have Subban as our backup. And I'm going to tell you right now, if Malcolm Subban is our backup, we're in big, big, big trouble.
I
Hoffer's
agree with that. Subban's not even the starter down on the AHL.
No.
He's backing up Tarasenko. Tarasenko will come up before Subban comes up.
I would rather have Ellis come up before Subban comes
Ellis
up.
is in the ECHL.
I know. It's crazy. One thing that I'm not looking forward to is the fact they have so many damn forwards on that 4th line, and that's where Jake Neighbors is supposed to shine. They got this young kid with all this talent, and they go in and bring back McEacher, and they bring back Oscar Sundquist. They've got all these 4th line guys and not enough playing time for really any of them. I'm sorry. Yeah. Jake Neighbors needs to be given a chance and say, unless you get hurt, you are on this 4th line to learn, because they got to stop this crap of bringing him in for 5 games.
But I don't think he learns on the 4th line. I think he needs to be on the 3rd line.
Well, either way, he needs to play. He has to play.
Yeah, but he doesn't learn by playing 9 minutes a night. He learns by playing 12 to 15 minutes a night, and he gets that on the 3rd line.
Yeah, 9 minutes a night is better than 18 games in a season.
Well, I get it. The thing is, here's my thing. The Sundquist signing made sense to me in one aspect. One aspect and one aspect alone. You only had 3 natural centers. You absolutely needed that 4th natural center. You absolutely needed it. Now, you have guys that can move and play center, but you needed a natural center.
I was told that was not an Armstrong move. I was told that Berube went to Armstrong, and
I absolutely agree with. You know what? You read the article that Jeremy Rutherford wrote for The Athletic. As soon as I read that, I was like, "This is a Berube move."
Yeah, and you know what else? 3 days before Sundquist signed, I came out and said the Blues didn't want him. Well, I got hell over that. Oh, this post didn't age well. This guy's an idiot, doesn't know anything. Well, guys, if you are one of those people that thought that, the Blues talked to him right when free agency hit and didn't call him. And then they signed McEacher. And Sundquist even told his agent, I don't think the Blues are interested in me anymore. I don't think they want me.
No, he even said that. He said that in the article.
He said that. That's why I got my news was from his agent. And the people are telling me I didn't know what I was talking about. And then Berube goes and gets down on his hands and knees and begs to get Sundquist. That was not an Armstrong move.
Do you know what this is? This move is to me, and this is going to piss a lot of people off. You know what this is? I look at this move, and I look at this roster, and I go, Armstrong gave Berube the rope.
Yep.
Does that feel like that to you?
Yep. Here's a rope. Go hang yourself.
Absolutely. I think that Armstrong has realized that Berube's not the right coach for this team. I really do. And I really think that there is a headbutting between those two. And I think it came to fruition last season during that 8-game losing streak where I think we misconstrued what Armstrong told the players. And trust me, I'm one of those guys that in hindsight, I see it differently now. We looked at it as Armstrong telling the players, suck it up. And that's not what I think it was. I think that was, Berube, fix this. You have a player issue here. You need to fix it. And he didn't.
Yeah,
it cost us some players that should still be here and probably would have stayed had things been different. And I think that you look at everything when and I brought on the Post-Dispatch writer, and he hinted at this. That Armstrong absolutely wanted to go young, but the coaching staff didn't. And that he appeased the coaching staff with some of the signings.
Well, what I got out of that when he told the players, hey, the coach ain't going anywhere, like you said, that was putting Berube on notice. That was giving him a false sense of security to kind of go, hey, I can do what I want to. I'm going to run this team the way I want to. And Armstrong's
and I don't think it was. I think it was the exact opposite. But I will say this. Originally, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was. It
was a fake vote of confidence was what it was.
Right. I think that now that I see things, I think that I think Berube has the rope, and I don't think the rope's that long.
Hey, Maddie,
the leash is that long.
Hey, Maddie, see, it's not just Bruins fans and management. If it was up to Blues fans, Brett Hall would still be on this team. Backus would be on this team. Jackman would still be on this team. All these old Scotty Upshaw would still be on this team. It's not just your team that wants all these old guys to stick around.
Look, Bergeron retiring was the right move for the Bruins.
It was.
Right? I know he could play another year, but he's not going to help that team.
No.
Right? Marchand for captain. Now that is a dangerous precedent.
Dangerous.
I'm sorry, Maddie. I know you guys love him, but that is a very dangerous precedent for. I had a guy in my fantasy league try and trade me Bergeron and Krejci. I was telling him they're both going to. Oh no, they're not. No, they're not. So he finally got someone to trade him Bergeron, but they put a condition on it. So if Bergeron retires, he gets something back, and that's what happened.
Hey, Craig. If you have to sign a fourth player to sell tickets, your franchise is in deep, deep trouble.
Actually, this isn't. I think that you see, Lance, you brought it up earlier, and now you're kind of contradicting yourself.
No.
No. And I just hear me out, bud. You talked about Blues fan wanting those old players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sonny falls under that. By bringing Sonny back, you sell tickets.
That's just
you absolutely sell tickets.
But
while that might not be a smart hockey move, with knowing this fan base, it's a smart business move.
I will guarantee
he's going to sell more than $775,000.
I guarantee you, we could go in the future and play the season with and without him, there's no way they're selling almost 1 million more tickets because of Oscar Sundqvist on this team.
Don't need to sell 1 million more. You only need to send about 10,000 more. What's the average cost of a ticket for the Blues? $67?
$70.
Okay, 70. That's what is it? 70 divided by
700,000.
Yeah.
I'm
terrible with math.
I've just always felt if you have to sign a fourth line guy that plays 12 minutes a game to sell tickets, you're in trouble.
I'm not going to say that they're not in trouble.
I mean, that's big. Plus, especially when you've got other younger players. And see, I'm with you, Guy. What have we heard all summer? We want guys between the ages of 24 and 26. What do they do? Yeah, they go out and get Sundqvist at 29. They go out and get Hayes at 31.
For the season, you would have to sell 11,071 more tickets to cover his salary at an average. And I actually think for the 41 games and divide that by the 41. And that's not counting preseason, which the players don't get played for, but the teams do.
Sonny has never played
That's
more.
only 200. Lance, that's 270 tickets a game more.
Oh,
I guarantee you they sold 270 more tickets per game when Sundqvist got signed.
Hey, Jason, Sonny is never going to play more than 15 minutes a game. He's 11 to 13 minute a game.
Yeah.
That's just what he is. He's not going to be an 18 to 20 minute guy. Never.
Lukic has Lukic retired yet? I don't
know.
No,
he signed with the Bruins again.
Oh, he did?
That's a bad signing. He can barely move.
Craig says, I agree, and that's my point. I'm not sure what you're agreeing with on me there, bud. Sonny playing more than I don't think so. Sundqvist deal is a good one. If it doesn't work out,
and if he doesn't get hurt, he is so injury prone. He hasn't played a full season in ever. He's never played a full season.
Right. Yeah. And the problem with his injuries are they're not LTIR injuries.
No, they're not. No.
Right. It's and that's an issue.
It's a 10-day injury, a 14-day injury, a 7-day injury.
How'd you not know? Because I don't know everything, man. I know it. I know here and there, man. I know here and there. It's Friday night in the middle of frickin' July, the end of July, and we're talking hockey. So that's how much of a hockey fiend I am.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like it was to sell tickets, which is not a good thing. Okay, no, Craig, I'm with you, right? But I understand that to a point. However, how many natural centers were out there that were available that you could have gotten between? Now, think about this, the overall, right? This isn't a one-time, this isn't a one-time thing, right? It's not, this is this, you remember the movie Little Big League?
Yes.
That's the one where the kid ends up inheriting the Minnesota Twins.
Yep.
Right? There is a scene in that where the kid decides that he wants to be the manager. And the assistant manager is the kid saying, hey, I know the game, da-da-da-da. He says, ask me a question. Ask me any question. So the guy goes, well, what would you do in this situation? And the kid starts breaking that situation down. Right? You know, regular season, postseason, pennant race, not pennant, inning, he starts breaking it down. This question that this thing that I'm about to do is breaking it down. When you look at this in a totality, you see my point. When you just say you brought in a fourth line center to sell tickets, that's not good. Hold on. You need to add stuff to that.
Well, here's the centers they have so far. Gaudette, Shin, Dvorsky, Stancil, Kyrou can play center.
That's not what I'm talking about. Hold
Hayes,
on.
Sundqvist. They've got plenty of centers.
What I'm talking about, at the time before they brought Sundqvist in, they only had 3 natural centers on the roster. Thomas, Shin, Thomas, Shin, and Hayes. That's it.
And Dvorsky.
No, Dvorsky is a brand new draft pick who isn't starting this year. You cannot count him. He's going to play in Europe. I'm talking on them NHL roster.
Gaudette. I would rather have Gaudette at 26 than than Oscar Sundqvist on the fourth line. And I don't like Gaudette.
It's not the problem how many of them can play wing and D. The problem is center. You don't have
these are all centers.
You don't have wings that can play center as well.
Kyrou can play a center.
Alexandrov, up until just recently, was listed and still is listed on the minor league roster, not the NHL roster. So Alexandrov, while he's a natural center, he's on that edge. He wasn't even considered for the NHL roster.
Well, I'm gonna ask you this question. You want a guy to grow?
But I think you're missing my question, Lance.
Yeah.
Let me finish my question first. At the time that they signed Sundqvist, what centers out there were available in the 700, the minimum to 1.2, because that's about how much money they had, to $1.25 million range, could you have brought in and had the same effect or better than what Sundqvist brought in? That's my question.
My point is, you didn't have to answer that question. You had it in Alexandrov. It's time to put him on the fourth line as a center. You had that problem solved. Instead, you go out and spend unnecessary money on Oscar Sundqvist. And I was really impressed with Alexandrov last year.
I bring Alexandrov up. Does he sell tickets? I'm sorry. Does he sell tickets?
Guy, your point is to win. Your point is to win games.
That's 200. Right. It's to win games.
If you're a GM and you're going, the fans love Sundqvist, we can sell 200 more tickets a game. He doesn't really get us to the playoffs, but let's sell 200 more tickets a game.
Does Alexandrov get you to the playoffs?
No, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
He's a young guy that needs to learn. You got to stop putting these young guys back in the AHL.
Kyrou cannot play center, and the deep pairings are, and God, I'm probably gonna fuck this up. You have Parayko, Krug, Leddy, Falk,
Scandella,
Bortuzzo.
And another thing, what about Prinovic? Is he going to get a chance to play? Krug? I mean,
Prinovic is the seventh guy, and you have one more that I can't think of. Oh, Tucker,
yeah. I mean,
and not only that, you have Kessel. Kessel's right there, bud. Kessel's right there.
Right now, the Athletic does not show him on their opening day roster.
Doesn't mean that he shouldn't be.
No, I agree
right
with you.
there.
I'm just saying that they don't show
there.
it. I think he's a year away. And get this. Do you know who they have as the Blues' two goalies?
Hold on. Hey, dude, go fuck yourself. I'm not fat. Right? You want to troll me? You want to troll me, motherfucker. Just that's how I feel. Right? And at least you're doing it on Facebook so I can go see if you're got a fake account or not.
Hey, yeah, Anthony Lilly, I played the game for 36 years, so I know a lot more than you've forgotten. So just they have Subban as our backup. The Athletic does.
Subban as the backup?
Yep, they have Bennington as a starter and Subban as our backup on the Athletic.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Hold on a second. I got to figure out where he's at. Give me a second here. I think he's on mine.
I just sent you something to send you that link.
Hold on. I got to find out where this dickweed is.
Oh, and by the way, it's not our basements, it's our penthouses. So
say again?
I said we're not in our basement, we're in our penthouse.
Yeah.
This is another loser that thinks unless you're credentialed, you don't know anything about hockey. Yeah. He thinks that if you're a reporter that's never played the game, but you're credentialed, you're an expert on hockey. Get a real job. He
doesn't have a.
Get a real job.
Now, hold on. Trying to bring he's got a dead account. He just made this account.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, it's a dead account.
Hey, and buddy, I'm 6'4", 240, so I'm not really fat.
So somehow 169 people follow this guy.
People love trolls.
Oh, and I just clicked it. They're all the majority of them are fake girl accounts.
Yep. He's a clown.
Yeah, so I know how to handle this fuckweed. Hold on. Let me go back here. There we go. I can handle this.
And I'd be willing to bet you that's not his real name.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not. There you go. There we go. That's handled. Took care of that. Oh, see, now this is more or less what, okay, I see. Yeah, see, I don't know. Who do you say wasn't on their roster?
No, Kessel. Kessel doesn't show up as a defenseman. But like you said, I wouldn't be shocked if he's here this year.
I don't know why he's not.
Because the person that wrote this article probably doesn't even know who he is.
It's not an article. I think it's just it's not a very good roster because I mean you have some AHL guys on here and then you have some that aren't AHL, and then you're missing a bunch of goalies. So
yep.
Now this could be who they're inviting to camp, but I know Kessel's coming to camp.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We're paying Kessel. That's all that matters to me.
Yep.
Right. Where are we at? Marianne's trying to get excited for all this, but kind of unsure. It's going to be a tough season. That's all there is to it. Subban was signed to be the third string goalie. He's not even the third string goalie.
He's not even the third string
goalie. He's the fourth string goalie. He was signed to back up Tarasenko in the AHL. Got rid of him. Let's see. Something about either guy don't see is Subban or as a backup. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Aaron. Fake account for sure. Winning 10 extra games would sell more than Sonny being back. That's true, but do you win those 10 games with Alexandrov? Do you win those 10 games with what you have now? That's my thing. Yes, Ashley showed up. Hey, Ashley. That's for me. I just think this is going to be an 05-06 season. From 05 to 09. I think we're going to see that level of. And the problem, and what's really bad is we're in a weak freaking division. Right? To think that we're in a weak division. Wow, Hockey Bob gave me a heart. I would have never thought of that. Can you believe that? Hockey Bob gave me a heart. I just think that we're in such a weak. I don't see how this team makes the postseason. Right? I look at this team. Last season, at the start of the season, I would have put their top 9 up against anybody else in the league. I thought our top 9 was as good as anybody else in the league. But something happened, and that team took an absolute dump. And they never got it back. That 8-game losing streak destroyed this team. Even though they won 7 games after it, it destroyed this team. It absolutely destroyed this team.
Mm-hmm.
We were under 500 this year, Darkness. So that means we didn't improve at all. Well, yes and no. And E, I already know your answer to this question. My question is, do we trust Berube to develop the youngsters? And he already wants Kyrou to be a two-way guy, and Kyrou's not. That's like making Hall a two-way guy when he was 25. That wasn't going to happen. You didn't make Hall a two-way guy until he was 33.
And Brett Hall will even tell you, yes, I turned into a two-way player. Was I a good two-way player? No, but I was good enough to get by.
That's okay. I get you, darkness. Right? I mean, I'm just telling you how I see it.
I don't
See if I
think
can find
anybody's.
it, Jason.
I don't think anybody's underestimating our core, Jason. I think everybody is a little skittish with the whole Berube and how he handles young players and how his team. In my mind, if you see a team that looks like a world beater for 3 games and they can beat anyone, and then for 5-6 games they look like they're the worst team in the league, to me that is on the coach. The coach sets a tone. He sets everything. And when you see a coach that is confusing players from time to time, giving different messages at different situations, this is what you see on the ice from the Blues last year.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't find your comment there, Jason.
I couldn't either.
Right. I hope you're making a joke there. I really do. This is a hot take.
Guy and I said this last year. He is strapping his reins to Berube, and he's going to win or lose on Berube.
But I think that Berube is on a more hot seat than Armstrong is.
Oh, heck yes. Yes.
Right? I don't think that Armstrong, even if this team comes in dead last, has the best shot at the number 1 overall pick, I don't think Armstrong gets fired. I think Berube gets fired if that happens. I think Berube gets fired long before if that happens. Oh, Chris, I absolutely agree with this. Right? Kyrou should be a 40 to 50 goal guy. I know Lance doesn't agree with me there, but I think he could be that guy.
I've never disagreed with that. I think he can be 100-point guy. He can 90 points.
Oh, I absolutely believe that.
He can be 100 if he's allowed to do what. I mean, young players that are offensively skilled, they learn the defensive game as they're growing within the league. There's very few players that come into this league that are great two-way players. Very, very few.
Berube being a problem. Berube blows goats. We don't need to go there, my friend. We don't need to go there. Darkness says, I think Ott/Weber is the end term no later than December. I think it'll be Ott, not Weber. I think Ott has really. Ott will be gone next season.
Here's the thing about Ott. He's the same style type of coach as Craig Berube.
You know what?
Yeah, he is.
I thought so too, but he is. There's something else. There's something about him. I've watched him coach. I've watched him on ice coach. He gets these guys. These guys listen to him. Listen to him greatly. And I think that's where some of the problem was. I think that his message and Berube's message didn't gel. And that's exactly what happened when we had
Hitchcock and Yo.
And that's exactly what happened when we had Yo and Berube.
Doesn't that sound like a law firm? Call us now, Hitchcock and Yo.
Right? Why did the Sens grab Tank? I think the Sens are making a push. Right? Somebody brought something up to me, and I wish Wendy was out there today. They brought up to me that Tarasenko is replacing DeBrincat. And I don't think so. Right? Now, DeBrincat, for all he's good, when I see a player, a young player, go team to team
to team to team
to team.
Max Domi has went from team to team to team.
Yeah, but
to
see,
team.
There's something with Max Domi that I understand that a little bit. With DeBrincat, I don't. Max Domi, part of the reason that he's going from team to team is a medical condition. Max Domi is a type 2 diabetic. And that has caused concerns with teams with him where there's been games where he's had to come off because of his blood sugar. He's had to have insulin shots during games. That is part of the reason that he has done some of that.
Yeah. I like him, but I think Detroit made a big mistake.
The Brinket, I can't see a reason for him bouncing teams like he has, right? I mean, Chicago, why did they let him go? And then what did he do? He went to Columbus, right?
I think so.
And then Columbus lets him go. And then he goes to Montreal, and then Montreal lets him go. When I see a young guy like that keep getting let go, I start wondering locker room issues. If there isn't something else on there that we know about, like a medical condition or something like that, I start wondering if it's a locker room issue. Especially as good as DeBrinket's supposed to be.
Yeah. And Domi, I mean, Arizona had him, and Arizona's looking for good players. If he was good, Arizona would have kept him.
Yeah, so that's my thing with DeBrinket, right?
And I'm going to tell you this right now. Everybody keeps saying that Tank was not offered a multi-year deal. He most certainly was. He was offered 2 to 3 years from Ottawa, the Hurricanes, and I'm not sure about Florida, but the
Sharks offered him a 3-year deal.
It was a 3-year deal, but it was like $3.5-4 million, and he thought,
also got offered a 5-year deal, but
it was for
there.
Yeah,
he thinks.
Yeah, he thinks like a lot of players, the cap's going to go up $3 or $4 million, and he'll be able to get a $6 million 5-year deal or something.
Right, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. Right, I'm with you. I think that he bet on himself, and I think that's the right move. Right, you want to talk about a player that bet on himself that paid off in fucking spades? In spades, maybe not in dollars, but his life is set because of this bet he made on himself. You know what I'm thinking of?
Mm-mm.
Can anybody think of a player in the last 5 or 6 years that put a bet on himself that paid off in spades? I'm thinking outside the box here a little bit too, so.
Mm-mm.
No, I don't know. What is that, MLB? I can't see what he says there.
MLB.
Yeah, no. It's in the National Hockey League. It's somebody we know. It's somebody we're very familiar with.
Pat Maroon?
Pat Maroon bet on himself with a 1-year deal with St. Louis when he got offered more elsewhere. And while he hasn't gotten paid big bucks, when this man gets out of hockey, those 3 rings are going to translate to bigger dollars than he ever made while he was in playing the game. He's going to get a multi-million-dollar NHL network, Blues, Tampa Bay. One of those is going to pick him up, and it's probably going to be St. Louis. I could easily see it being St. Louis. But that bet he put on himself has paid off in spades. Which got 3 rings, 4 finals, right? The man is he didn't need to make 5, 6 million a year. His $1 million a year will paid off in spades.
Yep.
Right. I'm glad you said it because I went blank. I couldn't remember his name.
I could picture his face, and I'm thinking, and I go, "Oh yes, Maroon."
Right. Well, hey man, we're getting ready to go. So if you haven't put your thumb in the air, make sure you put your thumb in the air. Aaron Coulter, Robert Foley, Hockey Bob, Erickson Krieger, E. Guido, Ryan Green, Gloria Sieper, Travis Partington, Ashley Jones, Brandon White, Jason Nichols, and one more who I just can't see. Thank you so much. Chris Shockey just did it too. Greatly appreciate each and every one of you that does it. If you do it on YouTube, I greatly appreciate it also. Thank you so much. Look, man, if you need to troll me, you need to get a life because I'm not worth trolling. I'll tell you that right here, right now. You know, my show, if I'm lucky, gets 500 views total through 4 different platforms. And that's on a super, super really good show. I'm lucky to get 300 views, 200 views. So you know what? I'm not worth it. I'm not worth it. I will do what I can to be a writer. I'll do what I can to be a host. I love the game. I love talking about the game. That's all that matters. Right? That's all that matters. Lance, thanks for showing up today. I hope your health stays better. Get
Thanks.
well, my friend. Get better, my friend. We're all thinking of you. That's all.
Thank
I'll
you.
just say that.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a great night. This is Guy, the Y Blues fan, saying aloha mahalo. And you got to know what, boys?
Hawaii Blues fan, we're bleeding blue with you.
Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!
Let's go Blues. And you got to know that we are bleeding blue with you.